Stephan Sterns saved his own butt by taking a plea deal and avoiding the death penalty. We're going to talk about that and a few highlights from the sentence hearing in today's video.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup at hey, hey.
Now hold on everybody, let's do a quick sofa sidebar now. Keep in mind, ain't no cop, ain't no doctor, ain't no lawyer, ain't no therapist, ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff, okay? Only credentials we got up in here is my sass, and this sofa. Now keep in mind also, I'm just giving my opinions on very public information, so do your own research, come to your own opinions, and drop them off in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you do like what you see here at the Sofa Squad, drop a little like, drop a little comment, drop a little share. It helps the channel out immensely. Now let's get edition. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. That's a sofa. This is Paul. My name is Paul if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, my name's still Paul. Now today we're going to talk very quickly about that Stephan Sterns plea hearing and sentencing. We watched this live on the podcast channel, but I wanted to come over here to this one to give some thoughts and whatnot. Okay, and look at a couple of the clips and whatnot from it. So remember, keep in mind, if you follow this case, Stephan Sterns, now there's no allegedly, you know what we can officially say, he killed Madeline Soto. This was his girlfriend Jen Soto's daughter, okay? He also did incredibly vile, horrible things in the SA manner to her. He was charged with a bunch of these when she went missing, never came back home from school one day, never made it at this point, right? We knew that. And very quickly, soon thereafter, it was discovered he was responsible for this. So there's that. Now, what I want to do is talk about what exactly he did. So like I said, he was supposed to start jury selection and trial this week. I'm recording this on the 23rd. So he took a last-minute plea deal. In court, he would plead no contest to the murder charge, but he would plead guilty to all of the SA charges, okay? So he would get 21 concurrent life sentences for what he did to her. Now, he would get some like a little bit like lesser sentences for some like side item charges, let's say, but yes, he got a ton of life sentences. So he's never going anywhere. You can probably, by the charges that he received, imagine what's going to take place in prison. Now, that being said, what I want to do is look at a few of the clips from the hearing and finish off with him speaking, because that was something I was not waiting for. Now, we would hear from several of Madeline's family members. There was one who was absent. We'll talk about that towards the end. That is her own mother, Jen. Also, one thing that was of very big note to me was that none of Jen's family even said Jen's name. Jen was not mentioned one bit in any of this. So she wasn't at the hearing. She didn't write a letter in for the people to read, nor did her family members even say her name, which on one hand, it's like, oh my God, how depraved, you can't even say anything for your daughter. On the other hand, I look at it like, yeah, she doesn't get to do that. Like, I think it's good she didn't, because it would take away from Madeline. You see what I'm saying? Like, it would just take away from that moment, because I felt like, and it gives me goosebumps, the family members getting up there and speaking for her and what a wonderful young lady she was and growing into being whatnot would have been diminished because of Jen's role in this whole situation. And we don't know where it's going to go at this point either, right? So now, do I think that she was doing that to be like, I want this to be Maddie's day in memory? No, right? I think she was probably absolutely didn't want to show face. Now, I heard some people saying she's in a hospital or something. I don't know if that's true. If you know intel on where she's at, I would be curious to know in the comments section, because I do not have verifiable and factual information on that myself. Now, what I want to do is just look at a couple of the highlights, and not even highlights, but just a couple of moments of victim impact statements. The first we're going to hear is a letter, and this is from the attorney, one of the state attorneys. She's reading a letter from a former roommate. Now remember, it came out that the roommate was also victimized by Stephan. So let's listen to this part and then we'll talk about it.
How can I explain what I felt and how this has affected me, especially considering that this same man took nude photos of my body without my consent, violating my privacy? I felt invaded, outraged, degraded, anguished, and absolutely shattered. I constantly think that my life was in danger too. I could have died. I am also a victim. And the only reason I'm here to write this is because God is great and I know I'm under his protection. This has affected my emotional, physical, and financial stability. I haven't been able to live with strangers ever again. Right now, I rent an apartment by myself. I pay it with all my effort just to feel safe and at peace. If I already had trouble trusting people before, now it's even harder. I can't imagine even handing a neighbor too close because it gives me anxiety.
I mean, when we watch that, our mouths hit the floor over that, right? This is what these crimes do to people. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, and some of you might have lived through situations like this, when your sense of safety and just almost things that a lot of people we take for granted because it hasn't happened, or you just assume, oh, my roommate's not going to violate me in this way. Things of this nature, right? I can't imagine what it would be like to have that experience. And you heard her saying, I do everything I can just to stay in a place of my own because I already didn't trust people, right? And then this happened, please, right? These pictures, you assume, where are they? We still don't know the extent of what he did with the photographs of obviously the things he was doing to Madeline, right? And putting out there on the internet, whether he's selling them or whatever he did with them. But then also his other victims. You can't tell me that there's not people who probably don't even know they were victimized by this man, right? Like she knows because of the situation that played out and the evidence, whatever. I mean, over the years, how many people has this man victimized? Now let's hear from the next person. Now this will be an actual family member, Madeline's aunt, and she echoes a lot of what we heard people calling and speaking, or the way they talked about Stephan in the hearing, some of the names they called him basically. So let's hear what she has to say.
I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today. And no matter what happens or what justice could be brought, it kills me that it doesn't bring me back. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us.
Now, she was one of the more tame ones, right? Using the word creature. I mean, they got up there and read this man to filth, as they should have, right? Now, what did he do during this time? Not much. The only time I noticed him do anything was when Madeline's biological father got up there and spoke, right? And in my opinion, sitting there listening to like what the victims were talking about and kind of recounting things, I was like, I don't think any of this, unfortunately, even sinks into him. I don't think it registers with him. In fact, I was like, I think he's probably sitting there correcting them in his mind, like, no, this didn't happen. No, it actually went that way, or like reliving the evening, right? That she lost her life, that he took her life. Now what I want to do is at the very end of all this, he actually spoke. When he said he was going to talk, I was like, what? Okay, was not expecting that in the bingo card. What he then said left me flabbergasted, okay? So let's listen to it.
Let's place Mr. Sterns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement. I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works. I have nothing but sorrow for her loss, and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well. And she truly was a joy. I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
Anything further, defense? Conclude our plea and sentencing hearing.
Okay. I know. Brace yourselves. Okay. Number one, let's start from the end of it. I'm sorry for all the pain. He doesn't say that I caused. He just drops out there and he saw its head. He did this number. He said it, he went, like, to signal, like, that's it. Because I think he also knew, like, we're expecting you to say that I caused whatever. Now, on the other side, I understand. He's going to appeal. He still has the right to appeal, right? Which I was like, what? He's not going to admit to things. Because remember, he said no contest to murder, but pled guilty to the SA charge stuff. So to me, I'm like, again, he was going to go with this whole thing of, like, whatever story he was going to go with for his defense of the murder. That was the one that I thought he would take to trial. And not the SA one, because that's so obvious, right? You can't get out of that. So the fact that he's, like, talking thinking like that. Like he's still going with the MO of, I wish God took me instead, but he doesn't work that way. What? Are you serious? Right? And it's almost like in his world, it was better to admit to the SA, like, well, at least I didn't do this part. And I'm just like, what? It doesn't make sense. And when he said she was always a joy, why would you say that? Right? Like, you look at what you were, number one, admitting to. Why on earth would you say that? This, to me, when I heard him say this, in my mind, I was like, this man is like in love with her. Like literally in love with her. Like, I almost think that in his world, the things that he did to her were justifiable. Almost like this. Like in his mind, he's thinking, y'all just don't know we had a relationship. But he's not going to say that. But that's the energy. And almost like, it's just unfortunate what happened. Like, whatever he was going to claim, whether she got into something or whatever took place, right? Obviously, I don't believe him. Obviously, I know he killed her in addition to the horrible things he did. But this to me just showed, it was like opening up the brain and seeing the level of sickness that's still there. Because I think anyone in their right mind would never have spoken, right? You just wouldn't say anything. I wonder if his lawyers were like, bro, are you sure you want to say this? Like the family members are just right there. Right? You do realize that. And also on that level, part of me is just like, okay, what would be the motivation? Is it trying to control the narrative? Because if you think about it in a couple of terms of, number one, he's going to prison, these charges do not go well, and especially, these are so heinous, y'all. Like, I don't know how long he'll last in prison. But again, Chris Watts is still alive, right? So it's like, you just never know. But this is Florida, right? So there's that. So if he's trying to control the narrative, it's like, dude, you pled guilty to the SA. It's almost like, but I'm sure the lawyers had something where they're like, you have to do this to get this or whatever, right? So it's like, I don't know what the motivation of speaking would be other than to maintain control, to try and maybe lessen everything, to make it not as bad, and also like in combination and tandem, whatever, is that in his sick world, it's just like, almost like viewing it like, this is my girlfriend died, like that. It to me, that's the energy this was giving. And I'm just like, what? And then maybe also a narcissistic, like, and again, I'm not qualified to give diagnosis or whatever, but almost like a power move with the family of, I got the last word. I got to say this. Yeah, because again, when he left off at, I'm sorry for all the pain, and didn't say anything else, I was just like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, right? Completely sick. What I want to do now is just look at the ending. I've turned the audio off, and I want to just like watch him getting ready to leave the courtroom, okay? And kind of study him for a second and just continue talking about while looking at it. So let's do that. So sitting here with his lawyers one night, and you see him, they tap his shoulder. Now remember, so at this point, he's done, right? It's like, you're getting ready to get hauled off. Now his lawyers, and that blonde didn't say nothing. Here the guy comes, he's taking him over here. Now he's like, oh wait, we gotta be doing some fingerprints over here. Come on back now, come on back. Now that he's convicted, this whole process is gonna start. Now, here's the other thing too, that when you look at situations like this, like number one, look at his face when they show it. They'll show it in a second when he moves his shoulder. Okay, there he is. He very quickly looked up. He's just looking down. He just has this very flat affect, very solemn, very like, I can't even really read it. It's almost like he's trying to do that pouty thing. And if you remember back to when this happened and he was like giving the interviews before he was arrested and they completely pieced everything together and whatnot, it was like he did, like he was crying in some of them, right? And doing the whole like, whoop, thing. It's almost like he's doing that now. Like he's really trying to sell that he is sad, that he had a loss, that he didn't do this, removing himself from it. Also keep in mind, remember when he said like, her death has torn me and my family apart too. And again, it just gets awkward when the perpetrator gives these statements and kind of aligns himself in any way as being a victim on any level, or them experiencing loss of something that they caused and admitted to. Now, even though he said no contest, it is what it is, right? And I guess that he's going to just try and die on that hill of, I'm not going to admit to whatever took place and whatnot. So, yeah, so there's that. So at this point in time, he is going to go off to the Florida prison. You know, I am sure they are going to keep him in solitary confinement, protective custody. But even in that realm, I personally think that these are the kind of charges that, you know, if you listen to people like Jumpsuit Pablo, 24 to Life, or I can't remember what his channel name is, you know, these people who make this commentary on what happens with these kind of dudes in prison. I mean, there's the kind of things where like the guards will let the other inmates know, hey, this is who's coming in here. This is also very notorious. You know, all these prisoners already know about him. They're waiting for him to come there. And I don't know how it works in protective custody, if it's like he's truly that sequestered away and maybe he can last in there. I don't know, or if they have like a unit for these kind of offenders and whatnot where they would be safe. But I don't even think that that would work that way. And again, you got to think, I mean, when I say he's young, I mean, obviously I know he's not 20, but he's got a long time to try and survive in prison. I just don't see it working out for him. I don't see it lasting that long. You know, I could see the deputies or whatever, the correctional officers pulling the whole like, oh, whoops, I forgot to close this door when he went to, you know, this thing. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to unlock his door. You know, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to put him out in that yard. You hear these stories of these things that they do, right? So this is what I kind of anticipate happening if he's in any form of a protected situation. And again, because he's so notorious, people are going to absolutely be coming for him. So there's that. But again, a monster is gone. Now, one thing with this is one of these trials where I literally was not looking forward to streaming it. We followed it for so long. Of course, I was going to and watch it. But like the Harmony, I always refer back to this one, like one that really, really, really bothered me was the Harmony and Montgomery trial. It still gives me goosebumps. It still sits very ill with me. And watching that, the details that you learned. And so this one, he saved a lot of people, or whoever convinced him to do this. Imagine juries coming in and looking at the photos that they were going to show them. Imagine seeing that and then having to go about your daily life, go home and look at your kids again after seeing this kind of stuff. There's no way, right? This was one that was going to be so vile, so heinous. It was going to continue to victimize people. Not that it won't, but you know, a whole new level of victimization. So that's it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below while you are down there. If you could drop off some little sofas or little pillows for Roscoe and Spirit, Bo and Luke, myself, and you, the Sofa Squad. So we'll have a place to sit and talk about this case and all the other crazy wild cases we talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we all gather down there to do all that, I'll see y'all soon.
I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup that hey, come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.